questions that we've always had is in dealing with folks down at the engineers down at the city of Burlington since 2005, so it's like 9 years, is what goes on inside the minds of an engineer in the city of Burlington. And it has always been so troubling as to understand what in the world are they thinking and why are they thinking it. Well, let me show you. I have an email here from Umar Malik, who is their senior drainage engineer. And this email was to Terry Spearin, and it said, it goes on, "Hi Terry." So in case you can't read this, I'll let you see it. "This afternoon I had a quick drive to the Four Seasons Drive to look at the inlet. I was glad to notice that it is functioning satisfactorily. I have made the following observations. The inlet gate installed at this location, and for that matter a grate installed at any location, any inlet, is designed to serve two primary purposes: contain the debris, and two, allow the flow to get through. The Four Seasons inlet gate is performing these two functions fairly well by preventing the debris from getting into the culvert and letting water through. Had it not been for the grate, the huge amount of debris shown in the attached pictures would have ended up right in the culvert, completely jamming it. In that case, flow would have been blocked completely and would have likely caused severe flood damage to properties. I have included a picture showing the flow at the downstream end of the culvert. The most important thing here is the awareness amongst the residents who back onto the ravine to be mindful of the yard waste disposed in the valley. As is evident from the pictures, there are sawed logs. They were definitely not produced naturally. Under the existing circumstances with a profusely wooded, privately owned ravine, it is understandable a lot of branches are generated naturally, but can we at least not add to it by throwing the woody yard waste? I'm glad the grate is performing its desired function of capturing these branches and logs no matter what the source. As discussed earlier during the public information session, the culverts are designed to carry flow generated by up to a 25-year event, which is in conformance with the MTO design standards. Any larger event is likely to cause water levels to rise before slowly receding. For safety, the streams and ravines should be avoided during rain, as the water levels may rise suddenly and without warning. In order to keep the inlets clear, City is committed to regular maintenance. The inlet is continuously monitored, and since at this point there is a significant buildup, we will undertake a thorough cleaning soon. All maintenance operation is performed by City's RPM department, which is Parks Maintenance, Road and Parks Maintenance, who have to follow a protocol to get to the inlet, as the machinery access is through a resident's backyard in order to cause least disturbance to that resident. We have to undertake a cleanup only when extremely necessary. Regards, Umar Malik, Stormwater Engineer. Well, what we've noticed is the importance to these folks in city of Burlington is the importance of the inlet gate is to contain the debris, and two, to allow the flow to get through. Nothing to do with safety, and nothing to do with preventing damage to the adjacent properties. Well, no wonder we are having difficulties with these folks. They just have a different, they just play by a whole different rule book. Okay, so now let's look at what he thinks is satisfactory operation. He's got some attachments here. Okay, so we see this attachment shows what the culvert guard looks like. It is nowhere to be seen. It is entirely buried in sticks and debris and mud. Okay, now we'll get the next one. And this is looking backwards at from the culvert guard backwards to see what the water level is. The water level is up to absolutely the creek bank. So and you just look at the adjacent mud level, and what I can tell you is the mud levels from this rainstorm in 2014, in May of 2014, was like in the property where I walk on, it is like 10 inches deep of mud. It is the worst we have ever had, ever. Okay, well, we'll see what other things he thinks is just fine. Now, here is the water level that's coming out now. This is after several days after the rainfall. This is the amount of water coming out. It might be 3-4% of the capacity of the culvert. So to Umar Malik, this is just wonderful. And this is looking down, of course, this is looking at the water levels that are coming into that inlet grate. It's still, all kinds of water is in there. It's being held up. It's not that the water has ever drained away, and the mud levels are extraordinary. Now, what I can also tell you is, since this was a couple of days after the rainstorm, they finally came down and cleaned out that inlet with a backhoe on June the 24th, like 5 weeks after it was totally plugged up. This is the kind of response we get with the city of Burlington. And this is what they think is proper treatment of their responsibilities.